Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Christine McCune, and today I will be going over co-cultural communication theory. As stated on page 229 and chapter 6 of our textbook, co-cultural communication theory is proposed by communication scholar Mark Orb in 1998, and it describes how language works between dominant and non-dominant groups, or co-cultural groups. Groups that have the most power, white male cisgender, consciously or unconsciously formulate a communication system that supports your perception of the world. This means that co-cultural group members, such as non-dominant cultural groups that exist in a national culture, such as African American or Chinese American, minorities, or even the LGBTQ community, they are forced to create their own language in order to feel more comfortable and have their own way of communicating. Some key concepts of co-cultural communication theory are assimilation, accommodation, and separation. These strategies reflect how co-cultural groups navigate their interactions with the dominant culture. An example of separation would be for co-cultural members to have an inherent belief that their lives will be more tolerable when they stick to their own kind, which basically means avoiding, staying away from places and situations where interaction is likely. They maintain personal barriers using verbal and nonverbal cues to stay aloof with one another. Another key concept of co-cultural communication theory would be cultural accommodation. This occurs as an individual adjusts to a new culture while also remaining a part of their parent culture. An example of cultural accommodation is a student who speaks English, but at school they speak their native language. A student who speaks English while at school, but goes home and speaks their native language or speaks their native language with their friends. This basically means that they are accommodating to the social norms of the world around them, which is the majority, such as white people. They are accommodating by using their language and speaking their formal language of English. But at home, we may use Ebonics as an African American or other slangs of different minorities. A co-cultural theoretical approach provides a lens to understand how traditionally underrepresented group members communicate within societal structures governed by cultural groups that have, over time, achieved a dominant group status. Another example from the book is in chapter 6 on page 229, where it is said that we introduce communication accommodation theory. There are different ways that people accommodate or resist accommodating, depending on the situation. One such theory that encompasses various approaches is co-cultural communication, which we examine next. This means that accommodation is very popular in intercultural communication. We learn to accommodate with the majority or just simply the environment around us that we may be put in that is different from our cultural groups that we are used to. We learn to accommodate, but that does not mean that we lose insight of who we actually are. And in order to keep insight of our cultural well-being or just our culture, we like to use our language, or if not just our language, then we use our own slangs, nonverbal cues, verbal cues, and etc. to feel more comfortable in a world where we are not the majority.